you guys need. Let's try to make a complete sentence of an unknown about the substance that was actually wicked, but for some reason found and went down the dune hole. Part 2. Even though her name is Amelia Perez, maybe we can find a way to get Nichols back to the boys. I don't know. I can't do it. I try to do it. I can't.
Oh man, you are so close too.
I can't do it. So.
A piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do! You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
What up? Happy Monday, moviegoers. Welcome to episode 338. Welcome to another new episode of the Cine-Men movie podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Juan, and I am joined by Zach.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, this is Jay. How's it going, everybody out there in podcast land? Welcome to a special presentation conversation we're having today on the Oscars.
This is true. Fun conversation. I can't wait to just dive deep into it. This is going to be a different, unique episode. Usually, guys, we discuss and talk about a movie, but today, news out the door. All we're doing is talking about a fun conversation about the Oscars. Last night, past years, my favorite incline of the conversation is, do we need them? Why do we have them? And are they even relevant anymore? Hopefully we can answer some of those questions today. But guys, it's been fun. Last week we had a fun conversation all about Captain America, Brave New World. Man, fun conversation. Go check it out in theaters and go listen to that episode wherever you listen to podcasts. So if you're watching us live on Emis Raw Productions YouTube channel. At a different time. Usually we're having dinner with you, but we're right here at the noon o'clock hour for lunch. And
we're having lunch with you guys instead of dinner.
Yeah. What do you guys have for lunch?
Zach, what'd you have for lunch?
I literally just got back from Chick-fil-A, so that's my lunch.
I had a donut.
Fair.
I had a Diet Dr. Pepper.
There you go.
Anyway, though, you guys can still watch this on Emis Raw Productions YouTube channel, Facebook Live. You can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts. Facebook.com// the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Instagram is all one word, Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The X is Cine-Men405. And then you can email us at CINEMEN, that's cinemen921@gmail.com. Yeah, all the social media links, wherever you can listen to the podcast, however you do listen to podcasts, all those links are in the social media links. Also, we are, for the first time in weeks, I think, I don't sound like I'm underwater. I don't sound like I'm dying from the flu, or I don't sound like I'm dying from COVID.
You sound like a real human being for once.
Yeah. But anyway, let's dig into some recent watches before we get started. Zach, you want to go first?
Yeah, just real quick. I'm still watching Everybody Loves Raymond. 1923 started back up on Paramount Plus, and Reacher on Amazon Prime. But the big movie I wanted to recommend or talk about was one of the nominees from last night, Conclave Finally checked that out we watched it Saturday night before the Oscars. If I could redo my top of the year list, that probably would have been top 5, maybe even 1 or 2. I thought that was very, very well done. Ralph Fiennes probably deserved the Oscar last night, but we'll get into that. It had a very good, twisty, kept you guessing plot. I thought the score was beautiful. It's a movie that a lot of people should probably check out, and it's available on Peacock right now. So go check that out.
I didn't go through a lot this week. It's been kind of a
low week.
Yeah. So, man, I really didn't go through anything last week. What's the last thing I talked to you guys about? Did I talk to you about Gandhi?
Yeah, last week you did.
I know you've been watching James Bond still, right?
Yeah. So I finished up Superman 3 and 4, Superman Returns. I finished Octopussy, which is the very last Roger Moore movie in the James Bond series. Complete campy. I think I gave it like a 2. But I did start the Timothy Dalton series, which he's only in 2 or 3 movies, and I only have 1. So if that tells you anything. But I watched The Living Daylights. You know what? That was a breath of fresh air. I think I gave that one a 3.5. The action sequences were real fun. It felt like a serious 80s action film. So I highly recommend that movie. I don't know about any of the other Timothy Dalton movies, but that one was a pretty good start. Other than that, that's it. I have not been watching anything else as of late. So, yeah, Jay, what about you?
I went through and I finished my Jurassic World watch. Fallen Kingdom wasn't too bad. Dominion wasn't as bad as she says it was. It was actually not too bad. I didn't find it to be as bad as I thought it was the first time I watched it. But still, the giant locust is kind of stupid. But I get it. I started watching Superman 1 and 2, the original cut, the extended cut, the Richard Donner cut. So I watched all those so far. I'm on Superman 3 right now with Richard Pryor, Christopher Reeve. And it's not as bad as I remember it being. I'm just waiting to see the goal that it's for. And then the past 24 hours have been pretty big on things that I've watched that I probably would recommend. I have to finish it. I have about 30 minutes left of it, but started watching Love Hurts. Not too bad of a little movie. It's only an hour, 28 minutes long. It's pretty quick, so I got the last half of it to finish. And then I watched A Complete Unknown. Not a bad movie. It was pretty decent. It's confusing in a couple parts, but other than that, it's because of the time jumps. They don't really tell you there's a time jump whenever there is a time jump. So, and Edward Norton's almost unrecognizable. I'll give him that. He don't look like Edward Norton. You could tell he's getting old. And then as soon as it won Best Picture and Best Actress, I started watching Anora. And so we'll get into that movie whenever, I know we're supposed to be getting into reviewing that movie in May? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep, we will get to it in May. I will talk about the first 2 episodes in May. April is completely almost finished, I believe. But yeah, man, we're hopping right into it.
Just a brief summary of Anora. Not bad. Would I call it the Best Picture winner? Probably not. But I've only seen 5 or 6 of the Best Picture nominees. I haven't seen Conclave or anything like that, so I can't sit there and be like, yeah, that should have won or anything like that. But out of the ones that I have seen, I don't think it was all that great. Best Picture, no. But
We're gonna cycle in with that. Let's get started. Guys, usually I go off some notes. I got me a nice little script written out. I don't have any of that today. We're just going to go off of some muscle memory. Zach did some notes. How important are the Oscars? Let's talk about past winners. And 90% of the time, I'm going to bring this up, and then we can kind of go into this topic. 90% of the time, the movies that win Best Picture aren't even the best or most entertaining movie that was nominated out of those 9 or 10. So let's get started with that. Is Anora going to follow suit? because I feel like maybe there's already like 3 or 4 other movies that are more entertaining than Anora.
I'll just say on a grand spectacle, Wicked was way better as far as like just being a grander spectacle. Anora just felt very plain to me. I get it was an independent movie, but it was just very plain.
Do most of those movies, I mean, yeah, in the years past, that's how it's been. Like they've overlooked the grand spectacle, or they've overlooked the most popular choice. I think last year was one of the few years where they probably did give it to
The actual best picture, I thought.
the actual best movie, the actual best epic of the year, and the actual best maybe solid overall movie of the year. That being Oppenheimer.
Yeah. So if you want to go off of that, I went back all the way back to 2010 just to look at all the best picture winners and like who was up for awards that year. You want to go through that? I got the list. If you want to go through that.
Yeah, we can go through the list here in a little bit. But my question was though, like, is this thing even relevant to any of you guys? And if anybody's watching, if you're on your lunch break or you want to send in a little comment, like send in like at least a yes or no. I'm going to ask the question. If you're listening or if you came across this, did you even watch the Oscars last night? So
I'm gonna go ahead and say this real quick. We talked about this earlier, but I did go through and read a lot of Facebook comments on the Oscar page before and during the night. And no, I didn't watch the show itself, but I did keep tabs on it through Facebook. And a lot of people's consensus nowadays is one, that the Oscars aren't relevant. It's just a bunch of high and mighty celebrities celebrating and patting themselves on the back, and they could care less anymore. Two is what we're talking about now, is that the picture that should have won doesn't win. And a lot of other people's consensus was that there's not even any good movies that are coming out here recently, that new movies suck, and that the pictures that they're nominating are just garbage.
And Zach, what about you?
Well, okay, here's the thing. So I'm probably going to be the defender of this because I've watched the Oscars. I watched it all the way through last night, the whole 3.5 hours. But to me, it's something that, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit later. It's something that the fact that this is 100 years old, and generally, people, I think the general public doesn't care. But the fact that this is almost 100 years old event, and it's still going, I think that has to say something. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Now, like you said, 90% of the time, do they get it right? Probably not. There have been multiple, I'm looking at the list right now, and these other movies probably should have won, or they're probably a lot more relevant, or people have seen them more than the actual Best Picture winner. But I don't know. For me, I always look forward to this every year. Oscar early March, maybe late March. I always look forward to watching the Oscars.
So I watch it every year too. I'm a sports guy. So obviously, I feel like there should be.
This is my Super Bowl. So
right. That's what I'm getting to. Like, there should be a Super Bowl like event for and there is. So that's why I enjoy the Oscars. But I mean, lately, the past 2 years, did the NFL get it wrong? Did college football get it wrong? And some of these sports and other, what I'm trying to get to is the formula. If it's messed up, or if it's not as entertaining, the NFL, the NBA, the WWE, college football, they remix the formula and give something new to somebody every year. Yeah. I think the Oscars just have to change up the formula.
I'll say, just to kind of preview my thoughts, I think that the fact that last night an independent film won, well, I would say 2024 was very much a heavily independent film year, just based off the films that were nominated, other than Dune Part 2 and Wicked. But last year, Oppenheimer, that was one of the biggest movies of last year. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh yeah, didn't that Oppenheimer make almost 600 million?
Almost $1 billion. It was real close to $1 billion.
But I I just think they have to change up the formula, and I'm glad Anora won because, like you guys said, it is an independent movie. Sean Baker's my guy. He's an A24 director. He's an A24 writer. If you guys haven't seen anything he's done, I suggest you watch Red Rocket.
I've heard the Florida Project's really good.
Yeah, so I'm glad he won. He's got his flowers. And I haven't seen Anora, so I can't judge on if it's really good or not. But man, I heard a speech last night. Was it Quentin Tarantino when he got on stage about going to the movie theater?
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino presented, and he gave Sean Baker the award, and Sean Baker did a very powerful speech. I need to send it to you guys. A very powerful speech about how we're losing the theater experience and how, it's all fine and good. You want to sit on your phone and watch it. I mean, but it's not the same. You don't get the same effect when you're not with a bunch of strangers in the dark looking at a huge screen. It's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, and usually the presenters are the year before's winner. Quentin Tarantino, I was pretty glad to see him at the Oscars.
It was cool. Yeah. I think Nolan is filming the Odyssey. That's why he wasn't there. So, which, makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Jay, what do you think? Do you think they should change up the formula? Instead of 10, should it maybe go down to 5? Should it go down to should there be more ingredients in why it's nominated?
See, fuck, I'm sorry, guys. I grew up in the era when there was only 5 movies nominated, so you really had to be special to stand out. And when people were upset that the Dark Knight wasn't nominated, that was the year that they raised it up the following year to 10, wasn't it?
Yeah, the next year. Well, the year 2009. Yeah, 2009. That was the next year. It got up to 10.
Yeah, because people were upset that the Dark Knight didn't get nominated for Best Picture and Best Director, and I'm okay with the top 10. That just hey, we get 10 to choose from.
Yeah.
But those 10 movies aren't usually the greatest. Like the year that Crash won, nobody gave a shit about that movie. That I've seen it, but it's been so long. But I just felt that it was a big preachy movie, and that's what a lot of people nowadays look at Oscar movies as being, is just a big preachy woke fest. And they're like, no, we're good.
Well, interesting you bring that up, because I was just doing research for this episode. The year Crash won, a lot of people were upset that was the same year Brokeback Mountain was nominated, and a lot of people were pissed off that didn't win. Not even so much that it's because it's about two gay cowboys, but they just thought that was the more superior film, and I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, Brokeback Mountain is a pretty good movie.
Or the year that Shakespeare in Love won, whenever it was going against Saving Private Ryan. Like, come on.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude, we're gonna talk about that. I didn't know why that didn't win. I thought the Academy was crazy, but no, there's a reason behind that.
Let's talk about, Zach. I don't know if you went this far back, but there's a little movie called The English Patient.
Let me pull that one up, because
1997 Best Picture winner, isn't it?
98 or 99, because
98.
Titanic was, yeah.
97.
So let's talk about The English Patient and that year of movies and that year of stuff that just kind of got nominated, because I was on a kick. Actually, let me give you guys a little backstory. This kick I'm on has started in like 2007. And I think everybody kind of knows, if you know, but working at a video movie store, I have the privilege of just searching movies all day long. I get a list, I get a discount. So I started back in 2008. I'm like, I'm going to purchase and own every physical copy of the Best Picture winner movies.
Which you have, even as long as I've known you, you've done that. So
and I think I have, out of, let's say, 100 movies, Zach, you know how many I'm up to now?
Yeah.
I think I'm in the 80s. I think I have about 20. I have about 20 or 25 to go. But so The English Patient, let me get back to this. The English Patient was one of them. And Jay, you might have been in town for something, but you were like, oh God, you purchased that. people at the store too. They were like, "Oh man!" So I sat and watched it, and it's terrible. It's about an aviator who crashed and burns literally, and it's a love story. He's burned to death. It kind of felt like he was going to turn into a superhero at one point, which he didn't.
That would have made it far more interesting, wouldn't it?
But it was pretty bad. But Zach, what competition was against the English Patient that year?
So the competition that year was, oh my God. Okay. Better strap yourself in. All right. So the English Patient won Best Picture. The other nominees were Fargo, Jerry Maguire. Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me finish. Fargo, Jerry Maguire, Secrets and Lies, which I don't even know what that is, and Shine. And I don't know what that is either. But how did Fargo not win Best Picture that year? I'm not even a big fan of that, and I agree that's a superior film.
Or Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Who won Best Actor that year?
Jeffrey Rush for Shine. And the nominees were Tom Cruise, Ralph Fiennes, Woody Harrelson, and Billy Bob Thornton. Wow.
Billy Bob Thornton for
Sling Blade.
Oh my God, Sling Blade didn't even get nominated?
Not for Best Picture.
That's why they upped to 10, because a lot of pictures were getting snubbed.
Dude, yep. I put mustard on my potatoes because of Sling Blade.
Oh my God. Oh, and guys, we're only 21 minutes into this episode.
Fargo is such a superior film that I think about watching that movie at least once a month.
Yeah. See that's one year that they got it completely wrong. They had far superior films, and well, it's just like the year we were talking about, Shakespeare in Love. Look what it was going against.
Let's talk about Shakespeare in Love. Now, don't get me wrong. I love me some Ben Affleck, okay? But
who doesn't?
Yeah, but and Gwyneth Paltrow. Don't get me wrong. That movie it's not great, but it's not Best Picture winner compared to the cheese and the meat and potatoes that it was up against.
So yeah, Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, so the story behind that is that Saving Private Ryan came out, and it was essentially almost like Oppenheimer.
Too real.
It was that, and it was just like right when it was released, like, holy crap, this movie's killer. It's going to win Best Picture. Like, it was pretty much locked in, right? So we get to award season, and the most infamous person in Hollywood, Harvey Weinstein, starts to do a smear campaign against the movie, saying like, oh, it's only the first 15 minutes. After that, it's kind of garbage, X, Y, and Z. And basically paid off Oscar or Academy members to get Shakespeare in Love to win Best Picture. That's essentially what happened.
I can see that happening.
What was the competition that year for Shakespeare in Love?
That year, Shakespeare in Love won Best Picture. The nominees were Elizabeth, Life is Beautiful, Saving Private Ryan, and The Thin Red Line.
Okay, Thin Red Line and Elizabeth and Saving Private Ryan way better than Shakespeare in Love.
Yep.
Thin Red Line was pretty decent. I remember that one. It's been a minute, but I remember being pretty good.
I have that on the Criterion.
Isn't there like an entire movie that was cut out of that thing?
I don't know. I've never seen The Thin Red Line, but I've heard it's pretty good.
I could have swore there was like all these other like deleted scenes. There's like an entire like other movie that was cut from Thin Red Line.
So, I mean, just looking back at it, the Oscars have, that itself, if that story is leaked,
No, it's in a book. I got this book last year called Oscar Wars, and it essentially goes I haven't got the chance to read it all the way, but it goes all the way back from the beginning, and it kind of hits like different notes throughout the Academy's history, all the way up until I think the last one was La La Land and Moonlight, that debacle. But no, there's a whole chapter in here about Saving Private Ryan and Shakespeare in Love, and it's the fact that
that's what I've heard is that a lot of these studios pay for their actors or actors. Whoever pays the most usually ends up winning.
And to me,
if that's the case, though, how does some of these small independent movies get those W's?
Well, that's what I think. I think the Academy has gotten under new management, and that's why things like Parasite, Coda, everything everywhere all at once. Those. That's why it's one bit. Some of those movies have won Best Picture. It's given. That's why I like how there's like 10 nominations instead of the 5, because it just gives movies that you wouldn't normally see or no one's even heard of a chance that, not so much to win, but it gives them a chance to be noticed.
Now, should they up the category the number of people nominated in the other categories to 10, or should it just stay Best Picture as 10?
I think it should stay. I think all the other categories are fine, 5, maybe even 6, but I think Best Picture should be 10.
So you think it should all be 10?
I think the 5, the 10 Best Picture, and then the rest of them 5 is good for me. And I agree with you. Maybe even a 6th, but other than that,
yeah,
5 is a good number.
Yeah, Adrian Brody last night. His speech was pretty phenomenal.
It broke the world record for the longest Oscar speech. So he has that
really
right now. Yeah.
Which he's right. He's like, I've been here before. Don't play the music.
Yeah, I know how this works.
I do have to say, last night with Conan O'Brien hosting was kind of a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I thought I did a good job.
I wasn't expecting the James Bond salute with the music tie-in. I thought that was really well.
Yeah, I found that kind of not odd, but I kind of think that they're doing that because, like, in the news last week, the Broccoli sold the Bond franchise to Amazon. And so it's almost kind of like an end of an era. It's one of the last family-owned entertainment businesses that's kind of been transferred over to corporate media or whatever. But I mean, I didn't mind it. It was kind of a cool send-off.
So does that mean that we'll get like an American Bond?
I don't know if we're going to get like an American Bond, but I think like my biggest fear is that, how it's always been spread out, maybe like every 3 to 5 years we'll get a new Bond.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be like every 1 to 2 years we'll get a new Bond. Maybe not like a new actor, but like a new film or whatever. Maybe TV series.
Henry Cavill is still on the list to play the next Bond, right?
As of right now, yeah. They haven't really said. I don't think they even have they haven't released like a short list of who could be the potentials yet.
I just saw Henry Cavill and Idris Elba.
Yeah, those are the two fan favorites.
Idris Elba's name's been on that list for years, though. Even when Daniel Craig was still Bond, they were wanting him to be Bond at some point.
I wouldn't mind that.
But, what do you guys think about some of the fans sitting there saying that it's because the politics and the self-congratulatory nature of the award show has turned them off on the award show?
Zach, I'll let you answer that first.
I mean, the Oscar, and I had a coworker that they refused to watch the Oscars because it's become a political event. You get up there and, I don't want to say spout everything that you think is wrong with the world, but it's just like, I get if that's what you want to use your platform for, that's fine. But at the end of the day, it's just like, dude, you're here to get
an award for a movie.
Yeah. You're not going to change the world with your Oscar speech. So let's just, go up there, say thank you, and let's move on. They did a couple of times last night. And I mean, like I said, I get it, but at the same time, it's just like, dude, this is a movie awards. This is not, you're not standing up in front of Congress. Let's move this along.
If you guys want to, send it to Congress. Tell Congress what you guys are wanting to have speeches about. But now is not I agreed. Now is not the time. You're accepting an award for being a stripper in a movie. It's not time for your political grandstanding.
What did you guys think? And we can take this how we want it, but I physically, mentally, I don't mind. Sean Baker got up last night and kind of like saluted his head to the working girl and that business. What do you guys think of that?
I can't speak to that because I know what Anora is about, but I haven't seen it like how it's depicted, so I can't really comment on that.
Having been to the strip club a few times in my lifetime, I will say this: the first half of the movie on how she's portrayed is very true to life. Like I was very shocked at how very realistic she was in that portrayal. So I'll give them that on the realism there. And There's a lot of realism.
What do you guys? Also, let's get into maybe some of the. Oh, Zach, did you want to say something about that?
No, I was just going to ask, and we can save this conversation for the actual episode. But are you surprised that this movie, from what I've heard about it, are you surprised it didn't get an NC-17, or is it like R-rated?
Yeah, for the first, I'll say this: for the first like 45 minutes, the girl is barely even dressed. There is so much nudity, and there is so much. The opening scene is a panning shot of numerous guys getting lap danced, and all the women are naked. So that's how the movie starts, and the movie ends with her riding somebody. So it's like, okay, it's pretty. It's a softcore. I'd give it a softcore NC-17 because it's pretty rough around the edges.
And Sean Baker is known for a lot of that stuff. The Red Rocket
was the same way, right?
Yeah, Red Rocket's pretty raunchy. But my next question I was going to get to was the formula. Like, where do we go wrong for a movie like The Nickel Boys or a Nora getting nominated to where, you know what? The Planet of the Apes movie, even though it got special effects, it wasn't nominated for anything else. Or let's talk about maybe one of the biggest movies of the year that still might have made you tear up, like Twisters, Deadpool, Wolverine, no makeup nomination for Beetlejuice. What is the formula, and how do us as moviegoer fans try to get them to change this formula? We're the ones putting our hard-earned money into the seats to see these movies. And true, I probably would have loved to see Anora on the big screen. I would have loved to see The Complete Unknown longer in a movie. I would like to see it get a 3-4 month run. Now it's like, if you're not making Deadpool money, you're not in the theater.
Well, a good comparison, real quick, on how quickly things leave the theater is Companion. It came out just about less than a month ago, and it's already on digital services. You can already watch it on digital services.
And it hits Blu-ray here in the next 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, and another thing that was just kind of strange is that how I was telling Johnny this, is that how Nosferatu, the same day it came out on Blu-ray and DVD, it was on Peacock. Like, that does not make any sense to me.
Another movie like Nosferatu, it got a lot, it got some pretty good recognition.
Got some nominations.
Yeah, costume, wardrobe. But again, I think Lily Rose Depp should have been nominated. Nicholas Hoult, maybe. And then I feel like it should have been in there with Best Picture. Haven't seen the Nickel Boys. Robert Eggers should have really gotten a director nod. Like, some of these popular but yet artistic films, what do they, what's the formula? Why can't we get some of these in there?
I think
it's a matter of opinion.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is if you, let's take Nosferatu for example. You're talking about a remake of a 100-year-old movie. Now, does the Academy is against that? I don't think so, because otherwise they would have gotten no nominations. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, so you're redoing a 100-year-old movie. Why is that special? It's special because we're telling it in a different way. And the fact that everyone, I mean, all of it, me, Ed, and Johnny did that episode right after it came out, and we were like, yeah, this is one of the best movies of the year. Like, it's definitely in that Robert Eggers style, but I mean, like, but
maybe the Academy just seen it as another same old.
I think that's what it comes down to, because the year that Green Book won Best Picture, I think A Star is Born, that Bradley Cooper version of it, I thought that was phenomenal. But we've had like 4 different versions of that movie, and the Academy will recognize the good work that Bradley Cooper did, but it's not going to win. The Academy does not like remakes, reboots, something that's been done.
Fantasy.
Yeah, well, I can't say that, because Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King won Best Picture when it came out.
That's one time in how many years?
20 plus years. Yeah, you're right.
That was the last year that I even cared that an Academy Award was given out. I'm not even going to play.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Academy, because the voters are what? What are the voters, Zach?
Well, like in what way do you mean?
Who gets to put their vote in on not only nominations but winners?
Pretty much anyone that's has an that's part of the Academy. So like whether it be like Spielberg or people that run the industry essentially. But like I would think that if let's say if you're the CEO of A24. Now, obviously, you're going to back the Brutalists, but at the same time, if I went and saw Conclave, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably deserving of Best Picture.
I think they should change the rule and almost make it like college football. And you guys can like agree, or I want to hear your 2 cents. What if when you win an Oscar, or if you've had a nomination, or if you've won the Oscar before in the past, you're the only one who can nominate, and you're the only one who can put in a vote to get the win?
Like for the next year. So if since Christopher Nolan won last year, he gets to pick the Best Picture for this year.
Not only that, but since he's got
that draft pick next year.
Yeah, since he's got the win, he's a part of the team that can nominate people and movies, and then he gets to throw in a vote on the win.
I like that idea, but at the same time, it's just like, okay, so you're basing the Best Picture off one person's opinion.
Not one, everybody who has won an Oscar. If you're still living and if you're still breathing and you have an Oscar win, you're part of the team.
So all the prior winners get to pick the Best Picture.
Yeah, they get to like sit in on a table and throw in a vote, or they toss in a vote.
So, like for next year, Sean Baker, Mikey Madison, Adrian Brody, Zoe Saldana, and Kira Culkin get to pick, and whoever else won get to pick that year's winner. Kind of.
Yeah, like they just toss in their vote.
Yeah, they just get a vote.
They get to vote on who gets to win.
That don't mean that a person will win. It'll just mean they get a vote.
They're the ones who decide by voting. Like I feel like if you're like, because they put in the work every year, they do all that. Let's take away the votes from the old timers that are probably barely breathing, sitting around a big old gold table. Like let's not them. They don't need to pick winners anymore. You know what I mean?
That's actually a really good idea. Let's shout out to the Academy. Hey, listen to our episode. We have a really cool idea for you guys for next year.
Playoff system.
But no, I like that idea, and the idea that it's not just I'm the CEO of the Academy, and that's my pick, or my vote is the winner. I think you get a lot of diverse thoughts and opinions and votes of
But when you sit there and try to bring up movies for voting, it all depends on the release schedule though that year too, because there is a lot there. We did our worst up episode not too long ago, and there were some stinkers out there this year, and even our best up episode there wasn't very many good movies that I could sit there and say.
Well, I always thought that if you want to get a movie nominated for an Oscar, it's got to be between the months of October and December, and that's not really true. That's just like when the majority of the Best Picture quote unquote nominees come out. But according to the rules and regulations, you have to have a film that's at least
in one theater.
Yeah,
years in, isn't it?
All the way from January to February. I think it's got to be at least 84 minutes long, and so forth and so forth. There's like a lot of rules and regulations in order to be nominated. So you remember when
Well, wait a minute, Coda didn't get a theatrical run, did it?
It did, technically. We didn't get it. We didn't get a theatrical run like the big Chicago, New York, those type of theaters. It got a release. So like when you remember when Get Out came out in February, and it was like a whole year later, it was nominated for Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an example of that.
Let's talk about some of the actors who have been in so many great movies and so many great conversations about them being in some of the best movies of the year. Not to mention they have 4 or 5 movies that they could have probably snagged Best Actor. Let's talk about the first that comes to everybody's mind was Leo. Leonardo DiCaprio only has one winner.
How dare they?
And it was for The Revenant, which he's been in a lot of other more distinct and unforgettable roles.
Isn't that whenever they sat there and said that Leo was just given the award to make up for all the time they didn't give it to him?
A lot of people think that, yeah.
And then that the same thing they did with like Scorsese and other people. They're like, oh shit, we're sorry we didn't give it to you for this film, but here we'll give it to you for this film that's not as good as your last film, but hey, it's still a win.
A lot of people, I mean, okay. I think at least me and John, I don't know how you feel about this movie, Jay, but I think The Departed is up there with some of Scorsese's best movies. But a lot of people think that he probably should have won. I don't know if he was nominated for Taxi Driver, but he probably should have won for that. A lot of people think. Or Raging Bull is another one.
Well, yeah, I'm saying that the Academy gives out an award for a movie that shouldn't have won it, but they're just giving it out to that actor or actress or director in this case because they done some work in the past that they weren't honored for.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take Leo for example. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's been nominated for 6 times. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Love that movie.
He was nominated for Best Actor for The Aviator, Best Actor for Blood Diamond. A lot of people think, and this is the one that really pissed people off. A lot of people think he should have won for The Wolf of Wall Street.
Agreed.
And then he won for The Revenant, and he was also nominated for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I think he should have been nominated for The Departed.
Yeah, I mean, that year at the Golden Globes that year, he was nominated for The Departed and Blood Diamond. So you can do that; it's possible, but they always want to pick like one role.
Yeah, I liked him a lot more in The Departed than Blood Diamond. Going back, let's talk about Scorsese. He's been nominated so many times, but I think he's one of the ones that has only won. I feel like he's upset somebody too, probably on that board.
I'm gonna pull him up real quick. His only Oscar win is, like you said, is for The Departed.
Wait a minute, only?
He's only won for The Departed. Yeah.
How many times have you been nominated?
Jesus Christ! Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, if you include, he's probably been nominated like 12 times, but he was also a producer on some of those movies. So you get both director and producer credit. But really, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times.
And he's only got.
He's got.
How many? He's only won. How many?
He's won really 2 because he was a director and the producer of The Departed. His other works that have been nominated was Raging Bull, The Last Temptation of Christ, that was for director. Goodfellas and The Age of Innocence was screenplay and director. Best director, he was nominated for Gangs in New York, The Aviator, and The Departed, which he won. He won the producer credit for The Departed. He was nominated for best as a producer for Hugo, and then The Wolf of Wall Street, The Irishman, and The Killers of the Flower Moon. He was nominated for director and producer. So that's quite a extensive list.
And he only won 1.
Yeah, technically he only won 1 for The Departed.
And that wasn't even one of the better movies that he's done, which is weird.
Yep. I think he should have won for
Raging Bull, Taxi Driver,
The Irishman.
I thought Hugo was a good one.
Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, I mean, say what you will about that movie. Killers of the Flower Moon. I know, Jay, you're not a big fan of that, but I thought that was a really, really well done movie.
That was the year that we thought he was going to have it in the bag. But who ended up getting it? Nolan?
Yeah, Oppenheimer.
Well, see, I can't be mad at that.
If Oppenheimer wasn't that year, I think he probably could have won for that. So,
Zach, you should probably switch over to Coke Zero, buddy.
Oh, trust me, I need to stop drinking here after today. So,
see, these Oscars have led Zach to drink.
What does that tell you?
There's another name that's on my list of ranting that I just love ranting about. And another man who has just won Oscars but has been nominated a lot is Denzel Washington.
He's won twice, but he deserves a lot more wins than he's got. I agree with that.
I think he's somebody who's got like 11 or 12 nominations, but he's got one win for Best Supporting and one win for.
So Denzel has one. He's been nominated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, and he won Best Supporting Actor for Glory and Best Actor for Training Day. He was nominated for Cry Freedom, Malcolm X, The Hurricane, Flight, Fences, Roman J. Israel Esquire, and The Tragedy of Macbeth. Dude, how the hell he did not win for Fences, Flight, Malcolm X, and I'll even put Tragedy of Macbeth. I don't know. That's just that's a whole nother conversation.
It's a travesty, is what it is.
Yeah, and the fact that he's thinking about retiring, dude, he needs a third Oscar. If he doesn't get another Oscar before he retires, I'm going to be.
Well, he can't retire if he's possibly going to be playing Magneto.
That's true. I was going to say, man, he doesn't look his age at all. He's like in his 60s, right?
70s.
70s?
Yeah.
Golly.
The man is 70 years old. Yeah, 70 years old last year. Wow.
You know who I did enjoy seeing win last night was Macaulay Culkin's brother, the one from Home Alone that drinks the soda.
Kieran Culkin.
Have you
seen that movie?
I haven't. It's on Hulu, but I wanna physically have it. But it's on Hulu right now, and I'm really interested in it. But I was kind of surprised that I loved his speech.
There's a Culkin that has an Academy Award.
Yeah. So
Culkin has an award, but Spike Lee doesn't have an award. So what do we say about that?
Now Zach, you've done open up a whole new set of beans there.
I never found his movies to be all that great. So
yes. Hold on a minute.
Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let's see what we got. Hold on. Oh God.
Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X.
Okay, so
Black Klansman.
Yep. He was nominated 3 times for Black. He won Best Adapted Screenplay for Black Klansman. So he's won. He also got the 2016 Honorary Academy Award, which is basically saying sorry, we messed up. here's you an Oscar.
Here's your little man. Here's your little moon man.
I've seen Chirac. I didn't really like that a lot. I did Old Boy. No.
Do the Right Thing, and then
I heard his Old Boy remake was pointless.
Miracle at St. Anna. I've never seen that, but I haven't. Inside Man.
Yeah.
I think some of the movies that probably he should have won for is in the early 2000s, like The 25th Hour, Bamboozled. Bamboozled is fun. He Got Game, probably one of my favorite Denzel performances. Clockers is really good. Crooklyn is really good.
I've seen Summer of Sam in theaters. That was all right.
Yeah, that one was good. Malcolm X. Jungle Fever. Who doesn't love Wesley Snipes? Mo Better Blues with Denzel. Do the Right Thing, though. I gotta say, Do the Right Thing is one of those movies, and I'm just like, how that didn't get. Well, I know why, but it was only nominated.
Has there been anything so far? We're almost 3 months into the year. Has there been anything that's been released so far that you could see being nominated next year, or any actors?
I haven't seen much to see. That'd probably be like a Zach thing. Hell, Jay, you've already seen more 2025 movies than I have.
Yeah, I mean, from everything I've seen so far, it's just like, eh. Now,
I wouldn't call it Best Picture for next year, but I'd call it a good movie so far. One of the better movies that I've seen of the year so far is Companion, and that's one I can't wait to dive in and talk to you guys about. Don't watch any trailers for it; it spoils it.
I'm not.
Me and Johnny, we're going to go see Mickey 17. I've heard a lot of praise for that. They're saying that Robert Pattinson should be nominated for like twice for actor and supporting for next year.
Yeah, it's set at an 87% Rotten Tomatoes score the last time I see it.
It's rare, really, really hard and rare for a movie to come out super early and last all the way to next January.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Not very many have done it.
I mean, like I said, Get Out did it. Technically, Dune Part 2 did it because it came out early March of last year. So and we just had the Oscars, so it made it the whole year. But like you said, I think everything everywhere all at once was a March release, and it made it all the way for the Oscars. So it's doable, but like you said, it's few and far between that does it.
Let's talk about that year. What year did that win? 2022. 2022. Let's talk about that year. That's an interesting year. I'm a huge A24 fan, but I don't think that movie should have won that year.
So okay, I got it right here. So Everything Everywhere All at Once was the big winner. In my personal opinion,
what else got nominated that year with it?
The other films included All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Woman Talking. I think I'm probably going to be called crazy. I think Top Gun Maverick should have won. That movie basically, if you didn't have Spider-Man No Way Home, Top Gun Maverick pretty much saved the theater industry from collapsing on itself.
I would say Top Gun Maverick or Elvis.
I thought The Fabelmans was really good, but I'm a Spielberg fan, so
What's that up? Triangle of Sadness is weird. Did you ever watch that, Zach?
Mm-mm. It's a Criterion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that 24?
No, but it's also on Hulu.
Hulu.
So you want to go over the list of from 2023 to 2010 and see how much we can bitch and complain for the next 20 minutes?
Sure.
I think 2023. I think we can all agree Oppenheimer was the clear winner. I don't see any.
Was, but you're wrong.
2022, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think we kind of agree Top Gun Maverick should have won. 2021 was Coda, the Apple TV movie.
No.
I'm going to say Dune or West Side Story on that one.
What else got nominated with that one?
Hold on one second. Okay, the other nominees. Oh, no. All right, so the other nominees were Coda won. It was Belfast, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, Johnny's favorite movie from that year, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story.
None of those sound interesting.
I just say West Side Story just because Spielberg was able to reinvent a musical that was damn near 60 years old, and he was able to make it new and fresh. So the year after that, 2020 was kind of a blah year, in my opinion. The winner of that year was Nomadland, which I have not seen since.
Is what?
Nomadland with Frances McDormand.
No, that's that movie where she's technically homeless and she lives out of her van.
Yes.
And there's a scene of her having a bucket in a Home Depot bucket.
Yeah.
I forgot about that movie.
The other nominees that year were The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh, there's the winner right there.
Mank, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Again, none of those sound interesting.
I would have said Promising Young Woman on that.
The Sound of Metal is a damn good movie.
It messes with you when you watch that.
Yeah.
You literally think, "Oh my God, is my hearing going out every time I watch that?"
But Judas and the Black Messiah should have won.
2019. I don't think we're going to have much debate on this. Parasite was the winner. Ford versus Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
What a year in
That was a
film.
good year.
Those are some fantastic movies.
I would have said 1917 on that.
I would have given it Once Upon a Time. I enjoyed a lot of that movie.
Yeah, those are some good movies.
That was one of the rare years where you're just like, I don't care who wins. A lot of those movies are really good.
Yeah, Ford versus Ferrari is still. I kick myself in the tush every time. I wish I would have seen that in the theater.
That was a good theater experience.
Isn't that Bell and Damon?
Yep.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
2018 was Green Book. The winner was Green Book. Other nominees include Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorites, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice. I would have said A Star Is Born on that.
Black Klansman was pretty good.
Black Panther all the way. Fuck it.
A lot of people think Black Panther should have won because that's like, that was like the big movie of that year.
Man, I didn't like it, but hey.
Didn't they come up with an award that was like it should go to the winner, like they have an Oscar for most popular?
I thought
did
they
get away with that?
No, that's at the Golden Globes. That's essentially like a Golden Globe thing, not the. I thought they were going to do that for the Oscars, but I guess not. Oh God. Okay. Strap yourself in for this one. 2017 the winner was The Shape of Water. Fish sex. Call Me by Your Name, The Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I would vote Dunkirk.
I'm not going to end this show on The Shape of Water.
No, we're going to keep going. I got it. I got
something to bring up here a little bit once we get through this. Things that need to be a part of the Oscars.
2016, the winner was Moonlight. The other nominees were Arrival, Fences, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, La La Land, Lion, and Manchester by the Sea. I truly think that La La Land or Hell or High Water should have won that. Fences is also a good choice.
Yeah, Fences. But Moonlight was not. That's another year that I was like, I don't care who wins.
Dude, I haven't seen Moonlight since I saw it in theaters. That's
Moonlight
like,
is, Moonlight is so, I don't know.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
It's very powerful, but I'm just like,
But a lot of these winners seem to be those type of movies that you'd only watch once and then never pick up again.
Yeah. 2015 was Spotlight. That was the winner of that year. The other nominees include The Big Short, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Mad Max Fury Road, The Martian, The Revenant, and Room.
The Room is good.
Honestly, I probably would have gone Mad Max Fury Road because that was one of those movies that just like I don't think no one had any like anticipation for, and it was like way better than it like is people thought it would have been.
Spotlight is good. Spotlight is good too, but that's just I feel like that is this year's Conclave.
Yeah, I mean, technically, you are right. Thematically, yeah. 2014 was an interesting year. The winner was Birdman or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. Other nominees were American Sniper, Boyhood, The Grand Budapest Hotel, The Imitation Game, Selma, The Theory of Everything, and Whiplash. I would have in my notes I put Boyhood or Whiplash for Best Picture.
I haven't seen Boyhood in a minute, but it's one of those movies like The Brutalist where it takes place in 10. They film it without over 10 years, and it's a 3-hour movie. So,
a couple more. 2013 was 12 Years a Slave. The other nominees were American Hustle, Captain Phillips, Dallas Buyers Club, Gravity, Her, Nebraska, Philomena, and The Wolf of Wall Street. I would say Gravity, but I have not seen that movie since theaters. That's my only thing about that.
One quite a bit, actually.
And it's not like Gravity was kind of good because it's not overly long. I think it's like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
It's relatively short.
What was your pick, Johnny?
Oh, what did I say?
Did you say The Wolf of Wall Street or did you say Dallas Buyers Club?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street. Okay. And then 2012, the winner was Argo. This one didn't have it was a very bleh year. Argo was the best picture. Amour. The other nominees were Amour, Beast of the Southern Wild, Django Unchained, Les Miserables, Life of Pi, Lincoln, Silver Linings Playbook, and Zero Dark 30. You think Django could have won? It couldn't have. It wouldn't never be made today. But do you think it could have won that if Argo didn't come out?
Oh, I think it should have won even if Argo came out.
I think it should have won because it was a hell of a lot better movie and more interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. 2011 was a bad year. 2011, the winner was The Artist. The other nominees were The Descendants, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, which that was a big controversy because that movie, a lot of people thought that movie sucked. The Help, Hugo, Midnight in Paris, Moneyball, The Tree of Life, and War Horse.
I would have picked The Descendants. By far, George Clooney's best movie of all time.
I'm not a big fan of that movie, but I probably would have picked Moneyball. And then lastly, 2010, the winner was The King's Speech. This is actually a pretty good year. The King's Speech won. The other nominees were Black Swan, The Fighter, Inception, The Kids Are All Right, 127 Hours, The Social Network, Toy Story 3, True Grit, and Winter's Bone. A lot of people think the Social Network should have won that year.
I would have went with Inception. It's a far more unique movie.
Yeah, I would agree with Inception. So yeah, I think it's very hit and miss of when they win. I think Oppenheimer is the clear winner, and then every other year was like yes to meh on the winners.
Jay, you had an interesting question. You said what needs to be added?
I think they should add a stunt award.
A what?
A stunt.
Oh, a stunt. Oh, like the stunt team and all that?
Yeah, the best stunt for the year.
You know, every single time Tom Cruise has a movie, that's what it would have won. Yeah, I agree with that. Best stunt team or stunt ensemble or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
You want to hear some Oscar facts that I found?
What's up?
The three movies that have the most wins with 11 wins has been Her, Titanic, and Return of the King. The most nominations were 14 noms each, include All About Eve, Titanic, and La La Land. The most person who's ever won an Oscar, that's won the most Oscars, is Walt Disney with 22. Sean Baker did tie with Walt Disney last night with the most wins of a night, which was 4. The Grand Slam, this is essentially what movie won the Big Five, which is Best Picture, Best Director, Actor, Actress, and Screenplay. There's only been 3 movies. The first one is It Happened One Night back in 1934. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which turns 50 years old. So I don't know. I don't care what you have to do, Johnny. We got to talk about that sometime this year. And then the last one, which has been 33 years maybe, The Silence of the Lambs in 1991.
Oh, wow.
People who never won Oscars have been Alfred Hitchcock, which, how dare they, Robert Altman, Spike Lee, and Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick never won an Oscar. The Oscars debuted on television. So the first Oscars was held in 1929. The first Best Picture was Wings. It was never like this the way it is now, where it was like this lavish, like big 3-hour event. It was a modest dinner. Tickets were $5. It lasted for 15 minutes and there were only 12 awards. So if you can go to the Oscars and get out of there for 15 minutes, I think you're winning.
That's funny.
At least made it half an hour on that first one. At least give everybody a bang for their buck. Like
No.
Bills at least.
It was like, no, we're not doing all this lavish shit. Here are the 12 winners, and we'll list them off.
We'll just read them off as you're exiting the building.
I actually own Wings.
Have you seen it?
Once. It was tough.
The Oscar, that movie's like what, 2.5 hours long, I think.
Yeah, and it's a silent film.
The Oscars made its TV debut on March the 19th, 1953 on NBC, which after that it's been on ABC ever since. and the first time it was in color was in 1966. Okay, I'm sorry. March 19th, 1953 was NBC. It changed over to the ABC in 1976. And then finally, the first time it was ever in color was in 1966.
Get your facts straight, Zach. Dang.
ABC was 1976, color was 1966.
What can we do to get it on Peacock?
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, the fact that it was, you know, same day, same time streaming on Hulu, I think we could get to a point where it'd be like, you know, it's streaming exclusively on Hulu.
Well,
I think
didn't they have a problem from what I've been was reading on Facebook last night when they got to when Mickey Madison won for Nora for Best Actress, the stream cut out, like it completely stopped working right then and there.
Johnny, I think you streamed most of it. Did that happen?
When I got back home, I just put it on ABC. So I don't know.
So,
yeah.
By that point, it was still, you know, you didn't see if it buffered or anything.
Yeah. So, but no, yeah. So I'll leave it. We'll end it with this question.
Yes, we will win. All three of us will win an Oscar one day, if that's what you're wondering.
I already have what you're talking about. I want it for The Office.
Do we even need the Oscars to be 3.5 hours? Can we just put it like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this can be one day. I feel like this should be streamed exclusively on like Peacock or Disney Plus. But I don't even know if do we really need the Oscars anymore?
No.
We've reached 100 years, and in an hour and 6 episode, in an hour and 6-minute episode, we can rightfully say that they've gotten it wrong more than the weather guys.
Well,
that's saying it mildly, for real though. And this is just one group's people's opinion, you know.
Right. And I really do think that at the end of the day, starting next year, I feel like they should just reformula the whole thing.
Well, that's the thing about the runtime. It's always been a headache. They've always worried about runtime. Like what they used back in the 90s, they used to go for like 4 hours and 15 minutes and stuff like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like the fact that a lot of the times when the Oscars is what I remember, the Oscars started at 7 and it didn't get done till like 10:30, 10:45 at night. Last night, I think last year and maybe even the year prior, it started at 6 and we were done by like 9:30. And that's what happened last night.
I just think, I'm not even talking about the runtime. I'm just talking about the whole general senses of how a movie gets nominated and how it gets chosen to be the winner. I think that whole formula just has to change. The viewership drops every single year.
Yeah.
And if it went up this year, it's because it was also streamed on Hulu. So
yeah. And they're probably going to look at those numbers, and that's my biggest fear, is that they're going to look at the numbers and say, "Oh, people stream this more than they watched it live." And so whether it be next year or the year after, I think you're right. It will be a Hulu or a Disney Plus exclusive, you know?
And I'm okay with that because like I was saying earlier in the conversation, the general consensus from a lot of people out there nowadays is that they don't care about the Oscars. And they just kind of wish they would just go away because it's nothing but a bunch of pomps and circumstances of, you know, a bunch of self-congratulatory people that are trying to preach and tell them how to live their lives. And a lot of people don't care about that anymore. They just don't see it. The old school magic of Hollywood is over. This, you know, back when, you know, the Oscars meant something, because in my opinion, if you sit there and tell somebody, "Oh yeah, it won an Oscar," and they're like, "Yeah, okay." You know, it doesn't have the same meaning like it used to.
But I don't know. Like I said,
that's just my opinion. I don't think it has.
No, and that's fine. I'm going to defend the Oscars until the day I die. Look, is it an award that really matters in the grand scheme of things? No, because I mean, we named off like 5 people that's never won an Oscar, and their works have stood the test of time. You know, there's also the real theory of if you win an Oscar early in your career's done. Mikey Madison's 28 years old. this is her first big project, and we'll see what her career is after this.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think people say, "Oh, if you win it early, your career is done"?
I think it just a lot of people think you just bottle up all your creative energy into one project, and then you have nothing else to show for it after that. So it is interesting.
The franchise, I'd be going after a franchise now if I was her. Get paid.
I what's so funny is it's like when Sean Baker came up on stage and thanked Quentin Tarantino. He said, "Thank you, Quentin. If it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't have known Mikey Madison." I was like, "Oh, I forgot she was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I forgot she was in Scream from like 2022 or something like that." If you're curious, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, she's the girl that gets like her nose busted in from a dog food can.
Blowtorch.
Oh yeah, that's true.
She gets set on fire in that and in Scream.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Out of curiosity, since you guys saw The Substance and Jay, you saw Nora, are you okay with Mikey Madison win, or do you think Demeen, since she basically won everything?
I didn't honestly see either of them as being Best Actress material, honestly.
What about you, Johnny?
I think it should have went to Florence Pugh, who wasn't even nominated.
Well, besides that, I mean, you think Demeen should have won?
Well, I haven't seen Nora, so I think Demi did really good, and it's good that at least that movie and her got recognition. But she got one of the loudest pops. She got one of the loudest pops of the night when they said her name.
Yeah.
If they're giving it to somebody because they were free, they freed themselves of all inhibitions and all that stuff, and just became the role, then yeah, Mickey Madison became. I was completely like, holy shit, she's a stripper.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, this is, like I said, this is something I look forward to, and it's in my opinion, it's always interesting to see what's nominated and what wins, and I'm gonna watch the Oscars as long as it's on TV, and if there's a day when it becomes streaming, hey, I'll sign up for an account and I'll watch it. So
I was gonna watch it last night, but my access to the way to watch it was hindered. So
the next time we bring to you a conversation piece is going to be April 21st, about a month and a half away. We're going to talk physical media. Monday, April 21st. Should be pretty fun. Nothing but physical media talk. Zach, what are we talking about next week?
Next week we're going to go back to the rom-com genre, and we're going to talk about I Love You, Beth Cooper, a 2009 film that no one's heard of. I saw it in theaters, and I'm curious to see what you guys think about it.
Did Chris Columbus direct this movie?
Chris Columbus directed, yep.
Okay.
The next week, March 17th, we're talking about Sahara. March 24th, we're talking about Wolfman. And then we're going to end the month, March 31st, with The Wrestler. And then I know for sure April, we're going to open up with Anora, Monday, April 7th. And then
Anora?
Yeah, that's all.
We're doing Companion.
I thought we were doing that in May.
Wait, what are we doing?
We're doing April, sir.
April.
Oh, yeah. April. No, Anora comes out April 1st, so we're going to talk about Companion. My bad. Companion, April the 7th, and Anora, April the 14th. And then we're talking about the Michael B. Jordan movie, April the 28th.
Sinners.
Yep. So that is the month of April. Should be fun. We open up May with Star Wars Episode 3.
20th anniversary.
Yeah.
We're gonna go check this out in theaters. We're just gonna do a home video run through.
I'm gonna go check it on the IMAX.
Oh,
yeah, they are re-releasing it for its 20th anniversary. So I'm gonna see if I can try and go see that again.
Yeah. So should be a fun next few weeks. April looks to be real fun as well. So, guys, anything else you want to add to this fun and unique conversation piece?
I think we've done it justice. In my opinion.
I think we've done it justice. We did a almost damn near hour and 15 minutes on the Oscars, so I'm pretty proud of ourselves.
All right, guys, don't forget, next week we have a brand new episode. We sit back, hang out, and talk all about I Love You, Beth Cooper. Check it out next week. Thank you for listening. Can't wait to see you guys next week, talk movies next week. Have a good week. And how many times can I say week at the end? We'll figure it out. Join us for a new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.
You like that, old man? You want a piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.